Boom.
Bing bang boom. Ain't nobody down round here. You know what time it is. Get that badger in and on and over here. He's in, he's on, he's over, he's here. Got a couple of quick shout outs to do. Shout out to Simply Stew and shout out to Pat Dunn. Shout out to Simply Stew and Pat Dunn. So I just want to briefly talk about last night. I was so pissed off last night. I went on Just Joe's show straight after. We were a good panel. We all had a pretty good chat. We're all pretty well even, and I think everybody were a bit pissed off, me included. Just a quick brief overdub of the game. I thought we started well. So 20 minutes, I thought it was the same old. We started well for 20 minutes, played well. 25 minutes in, they start to come into game a little bit. They have a couple of chances. We look a bit shaky. Then we get to half time, 0-0. Seems to be a theme where this is happening. And then we come out for the second half and you think, right, same again, and then just try and make it into a 45 minutes, which we still haven't had a 45 minutes of, like, I can't remember the last 45 minutes of, like, dominant football we had. Thought Geldart started really well. One of the positives that came out of it, Geldart's got loads of shit online, and I thought he was actually looked like he was up for it. He was getting about a bit. He's got some good touches, looked a bit tricky on the ball. And then I actually quite liked him out wide as well. I think he can go either way, can beat a player. And then he did fade, obviously, after the 20 minutes, like we all did, because it turned to it turned turgid, didn't it? So let's have it right. The second half was atrocious. I thought, to a man, everybody was atrocious. I thought the 5 subs was a bit mental. Ampadu drops in very deep, in which he's getting some stick for, but they're slightly different. So last season, Gruev was sitting in, and he was coming and getting the ball off Ampadu and Rodon, and that was doing my head in. Ampadu's not doing that. He's dropping in, and then Wobber's going slightly wider. Rodon's going slightly wider, or Struick on Saturday, Rodon. And then the wing-backs can get forward. The problem is, obviously, yesterday we weren't really retaining the ball, and then if Ampadu's playing the ball in centrally, you've got Wobber who cannot move, literally can't move. He's like he's walking in, he's like he's running in low sand or whatever, it's sinking sand or whatever the fuck it's called. And then Rodon getting exposed. So they got absolutely murked for that second goal. It was absolutely preposterous. Aronson sort of trapped back with him a little bit. I felt for Geldart, purely on the basis that, I said this last night on Joe's show, I felt for him purely on the basis that, you know, he doesn't get a single minute, does he? He hasn't played for us since God were a lad. And then he comes into the worst starting 11, you know. Granted, Middlesbrough, everybody keeps saying Middlesbrough made lots of changes. I ain't bothered about Middlesbrough. Bothered about our performance, but 20 minutes is not enough. It's not excusing him by any means anyway, but, you know, having said that, with the way that players are now jumping ship, you know, Geldart maybe will feature again. I just feel as though it's potentially like that's his chance. And then Joe made a good comment last night saying that Farker did this last season. He made a load of changes, and then players were never trusted again. I think Rothwell could be a slight upgrade on Kamara. That's a slight positive to take. I think he's really good. I think he's better on the ball than Kamara. He's maybe not as good at breaking the play down, but he does get about. He looks to get forward a little bit more than Kamara. When Ampadu sat in, Rothwell was really going quite far forward, and then they swapped, which I quite liked. I quite like it when both centre midfielders can sort of swap positions in a straight line, as opposed, so there's actually a ball forward when the centre midfielder gets it. Nothing more frustrating for me than when Ampadu and Gruev get it, or whoever was in the side at the time, like Kamara and Gruev get it, and they can only either go sideways to each other or forward to Rutter or whoever's in them areas. Obviously, no longer Rutter, but yeah, it's just a bit like, you know, we're just wasting a player at that point. Wobber, wibbly Wobber got absolutely done. He got a lot of stick as well on podcast last night, saying that he can F off and what have you. I don't know about that. I don't want him to be in the starting lineup. I don't think he's good enough to be in the starting lineup, but let's stop getting rid of players at this point. He's very cumbersome. I don't think he's got much about him. He's not good on ball. I'm not saying we need to keep him. I'm just saying if we get rid of him, what's the point? It's on this Bamford hype. Bamford obviously got blamed for the loss last night, which comes as standard. And that is not a defence of Bamford's performance. I thought it was poor, but if you watch the game, you'll realise that everybody was poor. I spoke to a guy today who said that he only listened to it, and then the first thing he said was Bamford was woeful, wasn't he? Like, Yes, but the whole team was absolutely woeful. I cannot get my head around it. It's like, and you didn't even watch it, so you don't even know that to be a fact. You just probably heard it on the radio because it's the easiest way to engage a Leeds fan. But yeah, I was furious watching that last night. I was texting my mate and I was just sort of like winding him up at half time saying, oh, it's possession-based football, Farky fucker loves it this way and that. And then he just sent me a question mark about 10 minutes into the second half and I totally lost my head. I was like, you can't win the argument just by being, the moodiest man in the world. I watched the same second half as anybody. If anybody thinks I'm happy with that or that's the standard that I would set for the club, then you've lost your marbles. I just, I do back on the side of sticking up for the players. I sort of feel like I've got a decent enough understanding of football to know that not every single game can be won, but losing like that in the second half is really, really bad. To suggest that we've had a really, really poor start to the season, I think it's a little bit premature. I don't really like the fact that Rutter's obviously left. Well, I hate that. That's actually, I'll speak about that in a moment. That's hit me pretty hard, to be honest. But we won game in and we've drawn in a blockbuster game, haven't we, where we was end-to-end, Ipswich, the new Ipswich, Portsmouth. They that were a once in a year game for them, wasn't it, where just everything they ate went in. We did well going forward, obviously making massive losses. I don't know if I've mentioned the 5 subs, but I wasn't keen. I don't like that in general. I think it's too knee-jerk. It's too many subs all at once. It just pulls the side out. I also think it's terrible for man management and like for people's thought process. So they've been playing for 60 minutes or whatever. Granted, it's not working well, but then you maul them all off. You just haul them off and say, right, you shits off. Get the real boys in and on and over here. Peru, whatever. I don't know at this point. Darlow, can anybody genuinely say that Darlow's distribution is any better than Meslier's Silent S? Because I can't. Farke really does have it all to do now. He said in his interview that we are no longer the favourites. Well, he didn't say we're no longer the favourites, but he said that we're now not the favourites. So, which is very similar. I'm paraphrasing him, but he did He did mention that we probably don't have the strongest squad now that Rutter's gone, Somerville gone, Gray gone, Kamara gone. Rutter's hit me really hard today, to be honest. I'm as optimistic as I always can be, and Rutter is hit me hard. And the profit thing is so irrelevant. Loads of people on Twitter. The thing about Leeds fans as well, or some of them, they go straight into finding a way of why we don't need Rutter now, saying, oh well, he's frustrating on ball or whatever. He created everything for us last year. He's the only player in the side that can actually turn the game on its head a bit. Somerville, obviously, very good. The thing about the one-trick pony thing, somebody said today as well, like, well, Robin were a one-trick pony, and then his response to that was, well, Robin's at a different level. Or like, well, yeah, well, so are we. We're playing at a lower level, so, these things are levels out there. I do wish him the best, to be fair. I don't blame him for going at release clause is a release clause. Fucker was sort of pretty heavily saying that Marathon or whatever he's called, Marathi did everything to try and keep him, but ultimately, if he's going, he's going. Profit's absolutely irrelevant. I cannot understand anybody that said that we're making money on him or not making money. I just don't care at this point. The release clause has been triggered. He's gone. It is what it is. I'm not sure this window is redeemable at this point. I think we're going in pretty much with what we've got. I also fear that Nonto's the next one on the way out. West Brom's now obviously enormous on Saturday. I spoke with Just Joe last night, as I say, and we were sort of saying that Corberan's got his number, which he does have his number. He has beat him a lot. But I did say, I'm not sure, and I'll probably get a bit of stick for this, but I'm not sure that really matters whether he's got his number or not. I don't think Farky Fucker's going to just tear up what he's been doing for the past year and a half just because we're fearful that West Brom, if you in a changing room full of egos, if you went, oh, by the way, boys, I don't know if you're aware, but the West Brom manager's battered us for the past 2 games, so I think we should just rip up what we've done, and because I think Corberan's a better manager than me. I don't think Corberan necessarily is a better manager. I think it's one of them. I know it's not fashionable to like Farke anymore, even though a lot of people saying he was the second coming since Bielsa last year. But yeah, that's not obviously not against Joe at all. I didn't, we were just chatting. It's not even... I don't know. Ipswich have loaned Phillips, which is a massive drop down, isn't it, for Phillips? That's crazy, really, but that's where he's ended up. So, I mean, I think that's a relatively decent sign for Ipswich. I was one of the ones that would have said, if we'd have gone up, Phillips is a Premier League footballer, regardless of form. Difficult to get these players, as we're going to find out. A lot of people talking about Smodic. If we bring Smodic in, we win the league, all this stuff. I don't think that's going to happen, boys and girls. I honestly don't think that's happening. God knows what's happening with Rowe. The only thing I will say is I do think, you know, and I get a lot of stick for this, it's not in the defence of the 49ers. I just think they will do something now. Something must happen. I feel like they were hanging on a little bit, and I feel like something must happen now. But yeah, shout out to each and every one here. Click subscribe, hit a like or whatever. I've got a track out on the 13th of September. If you go over to my JackCity page, the information will be there for you all to help a brother out. Let's stay positive, or as positive as we can do. Rutter will be confirmed in the next 48 hours to have left. So who's starting at the weekend? I think we probably go back with Peru, don't we? Peruzzi. You know, maybe, I don't know if Joseph can do a job in behind, but other than that, I don't know. You know, is it Aronson? I'm not keen on that. I'm all for Aronson playing, but, you know, I didn't really want to go into the season thinking that he was our main attraction in that middle. Does Geldart get a go in middle? I don't know, boys, what we're all saying.
Boom.
JackCity, bitch. JackCity, bitch. Hey!
I don't wanna play no games. No, I don't wanna play no games. No, I don't wanna hear your promises. You do you and I'll do me. That's just the way it is. Don't wanna ever feel surprised. That's why I ask no.